Hey!
See, that's how you stop talking.
Hey!
That's how you stop right there.
Like you on some skates, boy. You like, hey!
Man, don't get your headphones, man. Your microphone is live.
Hey! Big D got that money. Boy, Big D got that money like we are skate city, boy. God dang. Tell me you don't feel like you want to put some skates on. Hold on, man. Hold on. Let me tie my skates up. Hold on. Hey! Hey! Yeah, why this thing in the way, bro? You gonna make me throw this thing on the ground, bro? Why you got this like this, man?
What you need?
Why this thing all in the way, bro?
Sit in.
This thing, man.
Push it down. Push it down. No, push it down. No. Push it down. Push it down.
Push it down where?
Push it down. Push it down. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Bingo.
You don't see this big old thing, man?
You don't worry about that. That's another mic. That's where your guests come on. That's radio, bro. Look here, I'm trying to get you over there. And take your hat off.
This is my fun hat, baby. Hey! Turn that thing up, man. What you trying to do? What y'all scared or something?
And I'm waiting
You
for
doing a
you.
two-step.
And I'm waiting for you, man. You see what I'm up against, man? You see what I'm up against, man? God almighty.
Educate, motivate, elevate.
Don't say.
Educate, motivate, elevate. Educate, motivate, elevate. Educate, motivate, elevate. Hey, boy. I have my headphones on, bro.
There you go.
Hold on, let me get my skates going.
How you sound? No. Say something. Say something.
Say so. Say so.
How you sound?
Say so.
There you go.
Say so. Say so. Got my little laundry here.
2, 1.
Got my little laundry. You can elevate your life.
No. We got people for that, man. We got people.
Elevate your life. Good evening. I'm your host, Joaquin Thompson Sr. Welcome to the Daily Bread Show. Notice I didn't say radio show. Welcome to the Daily Bread Show.
He said it. He finally got it right.
Welcome to the Daily Bread Show. Episode.
Which one is it?
103.
You better
That sounds like the number, right? You about to go play that number, man.
Oh.
You better go play that number. Educate, motivate, elevate.
That ain't my
Educate, motivate, elevate. Educate, motivate, elevate. You say what?
That ain't playing the numbers ain't my retirement plan. What you talking
Playing the numbers.
That ain't my retirement plan.
Man, you better go play that 103, boy.
I'm not gonna do it.
That 103, man, go play that 103
I ain't
boxing
gonna do
straight. Put your 50 cent on the box, 50 cent on the straight.
I ain't gonna do it.
And you gonna be able to retire on that. You know why?
That $50.
You know why? Well, I'm out of goddamn.
Yeah.
I'm out of goddamn brown.
It ain't gonna take long. You old.
Educate, motivate, elevate. Hey! Educate, motivate, elevate. Hey! So for those of you that are joining for the first time, my name is Joaquin Thompson Sr. I'm the host of the Daily Bread Show. We coming to you live from, where we at?
Liver.
Liber. So,
Come on now.
Liber, Georgia. Don't ask me where it's at. Don't ask me, man. Look, man, this is my fun hat, man. I'm gonna have to take the fun hat off, man.
Man,
Shoot, man.
I told you to take that hat
I'm
off, man.
sweating.
And you think you're a young man.
Man.
Old as you will.
I'm sweating. I'm
Old
like,
as you will.
man, what's wrong with the microphone? What's wrong with the headphones?
Ain't nothing wrong with the headphones.
Bro, I'm gonna get my own headphones.
You can do it.
What's up with this?
You can do it.
Man, turn this microphone up, bro.
No. Loud as you talk.
Turn it
You
up.
don't need
I don't hear it, bro.
Loud, you heard it.
I don't hear it.
I heard loud.
Turn it up, baby. Turn it up. Turn it up, baby. Turn it up.
Loud as you talk. You don't need no
So for
microphone.
those of you, Man, you over talking me, man. I need you to pipe it down over there, brother.
I ain't gonna do it.
Pipe down, man.
Ain't
Pipe
gonna do
down.
it. Ain't gonna be able to do it.
But for those of you who are joining for the first time, my name is Joaquin Thompson Sr. I'm the host of the Daily Bread Show. And what we do on the Daily Bread Show is we talk about personal finance. We discuss personal finance. We ruminate on personal finance. We meditate on personal finance. And we do it from a spiritual perspective. We don't do religion on the Daily Bread Radio Show. The only thing we do is God. So if you're calling in, you can call in. Let me know how you feel about that. If you feel like that, 712-770-4984, and then put in your PIN number, 813-435. So, and that's what we do. And we talk about everything, because everything that you did today, from when you woke up this morning to when you go to bed tonight, after you watch the game, after you watch Toronto, pull this thing.
Say it.
Man, I was just saying that. That's just for TV or radio or whatever we doing. Y'all don't really believe that. That's Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory.
Come on, man. You know better.
That's Willy.
Come on, man. Stop playing.
Boy, you know something, man. Golden State's such a big bully. And that's a bad word to say, man. But
you don't have when you hit
people don't want to. Well, people don't. Hey, people like you when you winning until you win too much. They love when you winning. They love you when you winning, but when you start winning all the time, they like, man, Toronto going. I can't wait till the season. Toronto. I can't wait. I can't wait. Man, I'm like, man, stop it. You don't believe that. I can't wait till the series start, because as soon as the series start, Toronto they gonna win at least 2 or 3 games. No, they not. Go to they ain't even gonna bring. They ain't even gonna bring the NBA. The NBA contract. They say, hey, man, y'all ain't gonna be mad. Y'all ain't gonna be mad. We won't ship the trophy out there. We just really think it's gonna be out here on the West Coast. So y'all won't be mad if we save a few dollars. We ain't gonna ship it out to Toronto. We gonna keep it. We gonna keep it over here in Golden State unless something drastic happens. Then we'll take drastic measures if something out of our control happens. But right now we're gonna keep it out on the West Coast, because we feel like that's logistically it would just work out better if we keep it out there. I just don't know if we should ship it out to Toronto.
So basically what you're saying.
Pretty much. I can't wait. Well, you ain't gotta wait no more. Tonight at 9 o'clock, you're gonna see what it is. You're gonna see.
Kawhi Leonard.
Listen though, but see, that's why I say everything, and I mean everything has to do with personal finance.
Kawhi Leonard.
Listen, I don't care, man.
That was a beat.
Man, come on, man. Do you really think
LeBron
in your mind of minds?
LeBron did by himself.
Just do the math. Man, you gonna make me. I don't want to write on the whiteboard and show them what's gonna happen, but
I don't think you got the numbers.
just do the math. I'm like,
show me the math.
You want me to show you the math?
Show me the math.
Okay, Kawhi won, and then who else? This like playground. Like you got this, like getting in the fight on the playground.
Now, hold
so
on. Kawhi got all
Why?
himself.
Why? So Kawhi. So you said Kawhi better than LeBron James?
No, I'm saying that Kawhi.
Are you saying that Kawhi is better than LeBron James?
I'm saying Kawhi would not be in the finals.
Yes,
I will
are
say
you
that.
saying that?
At this point, yes. At this point, yes.
Man, cut off your microphone.
At this point, yes.
Cut off your.
Why?
See, that's what I can't wait. You one of them jokers. I can't wait to this. I can't wait to Kawhi. Watch what Kawhi do. Kawhi ain't gonna do. He gonna do what he do, but the rest of them jokers,
Who gonna stop Kawhi?
Who gonna stop Kawhi? Bro, why we talking about Kawhi? Is Kawhi a one-man band? Is he gonna be playing the drums and the guitar at the same time?
He gonna play the piano first?
The piano. Come on, man.
How's that?
What?
That's fire then.
That's fire.
Yeah. Look at what you got there, boy.
Man, what is this? What?
Well, you gotta recognize. Well, we top shelf, boy.
Hey! Hey! That's what the show's about today, baby. Got my beautiful wife on. I see my god sister on.
See, I had to bring it closer.
There's some other people. Yeah, man, you got to bring it.
Yeah, so you can see.
You know what I'm saying? In case somebody say something, I want to be able to read that. Like, I can't wait as a while. Like, man, go on, get in the bed, man. Put your slippers on. Take that last little sip of Geritol and get in the bed, bro. You ain't gonna miss nothing.
Did you say Geritol?
Geritol, that's what my grandmother used to take, man. Get some Geritol, man. But man, glad to be. Feel like my first show. Feel like I just started.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm sweating.
Yeah.
I'm like, God, dog, man.
Look at the mess. Look where they get some naps.
Man, you ain't got no water in here, man. What kind of studio y'all run? Y'all cut the air on?
Man, you got spit. Go ahead.
Man, shoot, man. But hey, got a great show planned for you all today. We're gonna do some whiteboarding because I think it's important to do some whiteboarding because the thing about the whiteboard is all about the whiteboard. You ain't gotta hide it, man. I'm sweating for real, bro. My God, damn.
Yeah,
I wonder what made me start sweating like that.
Yeah, all that hooping and hollering and jumping around you doing.
What happened?
That hooping and hollering and jumping around you doing the dancing.
What happened?
Man, I thought you was at the club or something, man.
Let me think. What happened? What?
I thought you was at the club or something, man.
At the club?
Yeah.
What happened?
You spend money at the club, you know. It's boys right back to finance. Now let's go back on finance. Come on now.
Everything.
Yes, sir.
And I mean everything. And I mean everything is tied to personal finance.
Now how's that?
Everything. When you got up this morning, what you do? Just tell me something you did this morning. What you got when you got up this morning?
Shower and brush my teeth.
Personal finance, right? You got up, but you got out your bed, right?
Yes, sir.
You didn't get up off the street.
That's right.
Personal finance, right? Food. It was a guy that's very important to everybody, but a lot of people don't know his story. He was a scientist. He was a behavioralist, right? Abraham. So, man, sometimes I'm like, I don't think y'all know the depths of my God, of my intellect. I don't think y'all know the depths, bro. Abraham Maslow. And what he talked about was the hierarchy, right, of needs of man. So he just popped it off. It's 7.
Try that.
Man, why you?
Try that.
Man, don't come putting your hand in my.
I'm trying to give you the best sound quality you can get, bro.
Man, what you doing? You gonna tape something?
Yeah. Pour it, there you go.
Man, whatever.
You need to talk.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, man, that sound good.
Oh, that sound better, huh?
Oh man.
So it almost sound like I know what I'm talking about.
You talking too much though, bro.
I know it. I do.
You talking too much.
My.
You talking too much, S.A. Yo, Holmes. You talking too much, Holmes. Jeez. But yeah, everything has to do with personal finance. So one of the things I was thinking about, one of the things I'm gonna talk about today, we're gonna talk about business. We're gonna talk about business. And the reason we're going to talk about business is because one of the biggest components, because a lot of people feel like, I got some laundry here too, because you always got to bring examples. When you talk about things, sometimes people, they don't get it until you show an example. So I brought my laundry in. Look, it's nice and folded. Look at that, ironed and folded. Look at them squares. Y'all don't know nothing about this. Anyway, but the thing about that is, a lot of people are playing this game, but they don't realize the game that they're playing. They don't realize the field that they're playing on. They wearing cleats, and the game is being played in a gym. They wearing cleats on a gym floor. So if you're wearing cleats on a basketball floor, throwing a football, and it's a basketball goal, what you gonna do with that? So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to put you up on something where you say, the only thing I want you to do after you watch the Daily Bread radio show is just like, I wonder if that it sounds like that brother know what he's talking about. And then I want you to just be able to resonate and put it in play, because if you don't put it in play, and we're getting real serious now, if we don't put it in play, nephew, how old are you now? You 15? You 16? See what I'm saying? Nephew said, hey man, he wanted to come up to the Daily Bread radio show. But he ain't even daily, we didn't evolve. It's the Daily Bread show. So he wanted to come up to the show, right? Told his uncle, he said, hey, I don't want to see none of them other people. He said, I don't want to see. He was like, you can miss me. He said, you can miss me with that, but that guy that come on at night, I want to see him. But all them other people, He said, hey. So nephew is 16, right? And we've talked about this before. If we don't start at 16, then my grandson, broke my grandson heart. But grandson, he at basketball practice right now. All day he talked about what he was going to talk about on the show. He wanted to be in the host chair. He wanted to be the co-host. He had all his topics. He was like, Papa, I'm going to talk about this, and Papa, I'm going to talk about that. His mom came, typical mom. You know how you can be, well, they not like you come up with some dreams and stuff you going to do, and your mama come and just shut it down. He had it all mapped out. His mom came home and was like, boy, you got basketball practice. He was like, basketball practice? He said, can I miss? He said, can I miss practice today? Because I want to go to Papa's show. She was like, nah, you got a game this weekend. You need to go to practice. And dude was just like,
the wind came out of the
man, broke my little man heart. But I'm saying that to say this. 16-year-old, 8 years old, right? We got to get this information as far down into as younger people as we can get to, that have the mind set to accept this information and get it coming in, because some people, a lot of stuff that we do with personal finance, it has to do with time. It has a lot to do with time. It's kind of like, you know, if you win the lottery too late in life, do you really win? Like say you 83 years old and you win the lottery. Like, all right, I won the lottery, you 83. Do you really win? I mean, really, like, but if you could do it early on, not only if you could do it early on, but here's the other part to that. If you can do it and come into a windfall or put something in play that you know is going to take time for it to grow and mature over time, and then put it in play where when it's time for you to pass it on to your kids and your kids' kids, they know how to handle it, right? It's like giving them an assault weapon. The reason people want bans on guns, it ain't because of the gun, right? It's because of the people that have access to it. They use it inappropriately. It's the same thing with personal finance. You could live your whole life, put businesses in place, put real estate in place, put, you know, your legacy in place, put your life insurance, get all this stuff put in place for you and your spouse, but you don't teach your kids. And then when you pass away, your kids get 3 houses, they get, you know, hundreds and thousands of dollars. But if you haven't taught them how to manage that, if they haven't been exposed to what to do with that, guess what? Poof, it's gone, man. It's abracadabra. It's abracadabra. So what I try to do on the Daily Bread radio show is just give you something to just marinate on. Just something for you to just sit back and like, man, that do sound about right, right? So tonight, what we're going to talk about tonight, we're going to talk about business. And one of the biggest things about business and understanding business is taxes. The Boston Tea Party, taxes. You might not like it, Like a lot of people say, I don't like the president. I don't like what he's doing. I don't like what he's about. I don't like what he talk. I don't like his hair. I don't like this. He say anything. He crazy. He this, he that. But let me tell you something about real smart people. People who are very, very smart, they make other people think that they're not smart. Mm-hmm. So all this stuff that he's doing, that's a facade.
Just fluff.
Right? But if you sit down and check his game out. Check it out. And it's some things, once you are documented, once you get documented in something, it don't matter what somebody say. It don't matter if they like you or they don't like you. No matter what happens, this man, the one that nobody likes, the one that people say he crazy, the one that say all these other adjectives about this man, right? But this man will forever be tied to the presidency of the United States. That's the highest position pretty much in the world. As far as positions, titles, President of the United States. President of the United States. I mean, I'm over everything. I am the chief. I'm the commander-in-chief.
HNIC.
Right? So all of them 4-star generals, they report to me. All of them people who got, they can figure out all this code and, how to break down, they report to me. So while he's doing this different stuff, what we have to do is take a step back. The best thing that you can do when you see somebody doing something that's really, really skillful is just observe, take notes. Taxes. Donald Trump, before he even got into the presidency, he used to tell people he was a billionaire, but he wasn't a billionaire. But what happened was his father, Fred Trump, when Fred Trump passed away, he left Donald Trump, Donald Trump's brother, and Donald Trump's sister. So there's 3 of them. He left them. When he left, he passed away, $600 million. So you ain't got to win the lottery. If your daddy leave you $600 million, the only thing you got to do is don't wreck the car. The only thing you got to do is keep it on the road, right? Or if you're a football fan, what do they say when you got a sorry quarterback? I see some football fans out there. I see Big D. I see my nephew. Shout out to Andre Parker, Duval's finest. Y'all football fans. So if you got a sorry quarterback, you got a good team, but a sorry quarterback, what do they say? Just don't lose it. I don't need you to throw the ball. Just don't lose it. That's all I need. You don't need no heroics. Don't try to throw a deep bomb. Just hand the ball off. Manage the game. We'll take care of the rest. The defense and everybody else will take care of it. But you don't lose it. Don't do nothing spectacular. It's the same thing with you. He got $600 million. He came into the world. Out of the birth canal on $600 million. He came into the world on $600 million. Now that's one. The second thing was this. What Fred Trump did, and this is why we talk about this on the Daily Bread radio show too as well, Fred Trump set up his estate to ensure that it was able to bypass probate, it was able to bypass the death tax. And you may say, well, but that's the law, how do you get around that? Yeah, that's the question that we need to be asking. It's like, how did he do that? Donald Trump set up a business. Him, his brother, and his sister set up a business, right? The business was running, and it was another business that would make deposits to the business that Donald Trump was running with his brother and his sister, right? I'm talking about millions of dollars. They set up this maintenance company. And the front that they put on the business was this. The business was set up to do the maintenance on all of the real estate that Fred Trump owned. Listen to the story now. The business was set up to, like when they own these apartment buildings and all that. So say a boiler went out at an apartment building. A boiler is like what? $50,000, $100,000. You're talking about a huge apartment building in New York City, right? So what they did was this. They said, hey, check this out. Why don't we do this? why don't we sell some product and tell them that we're going to fix this building? The boiler is $150,000, and we just sell them 10 boilers because we need to upgrade all of the buildings. That makes sense, right? Because you've got a business, you're like, oh, let's replace all the boilers. So they would get the boilers for $10,000, and they were selling them for $100,000 to their dad, to Fred Trump. And then every time that Donald Trump needed money, you remember all the times he went through bankruptcy, like, oh, he made a comeback. Do your research. Every time when he needed $1 million, guess what they did? Fred Trump, they sent Fred Trump a purchase order for $1 million worth of services. They would just sit down and write out a purchase order and say, hey, we're going to do $1 million worth of upgrades on all of the buildings that you have in your portfolio. And guess what Fred Trump did? He got the invoice, and then he would turn around and pay the invoice for $1 million, right? Wire the money over to their company. But did the work ever get done? No. That's just us doing business. That's my son and my daughter and my other son. We got to set up like that. And the thing about it, the sweet part about that is this. When you make money, there's not income tax. That's why they call it income. So when you work a linear job, I have a linear job. Many of you all might have a linear job. Everybody who's not an entrepreneur has a linear job, right? Meaning you go to work and they pay you for a certain number of hours, or you might be salaried or whatever. We have income tax to pay. But wealthy people, how do they get all that money? Assets appreciate, and when assets appreciate, you could take money out of an asset and create another asset and let it appreciate. And then you can take money out of that asset. But when you take money out of assets, it's tax-free. You don't get taxed on that. So that's why taxes is so important, because, and people say, oh man, I don't want to end up like Wesley Snipes. I don't want to end up like Ron Isley. It's two different words. It's two words that I want you all to understand today. What we're going to talk about, business and taxes. Two words I want you to understand. Evasion, right? To evade something means what? That means to get away from it. Like if somebody's chasing you and you evade them, what do? You running hard, or you went behind the car, they were shooting, you evaded them, right? You like, oh shoot, they shooting. So you ran like, oh shoot. You evade. That's called evasion. So when you talk about tax evasion, what does that mean? That means when your tax bill came, your tax bill, here's your tax bill. You like, oh shoot, I ain't make no money. That movie wasn't that big. So when you, oh, miss me. So when you do that, look, that's called evasion. So that's what, I'm not gonna use that word because we got monitors in the studio, but that's what makes, I'm gonna just say mad. That's what makes the IRS mad. They like, we know you made all that money. You made $10 million and you didn't pay. So they get upset, and then what do? I'm gonna fix you. You think you gonna just ride around, make that money, don't pay no tax? I'm gonna fix you. Right? Mm-hmm. IRS steps in, they said, you know what? Based on our calculations, you made, $8 million in the last 3 years, and we don't have a record of your income tax, so that's evasion. So for income tax evasion, you can get federal time for that if they can prove it. And a lot of times they can, because it's pretty simple if you think about it. Because if you got a lot of assets and you've accumulated a lot of money, but you don't have a tax record, it's pretty simple, especially when you get smart people involved. So that's why they end up going to jail, because it was tax evasion. Two words I want you to understand. Tax evasion. So you don't want evasion. Avoidance. What does avoidance mean? Avoidance means you see a wreck up ahead, right? And instead of you just sitting there and going into the wreck, like you see the wreck, that would be crazy for you to just drive right, pow! You see the wreck right in front. So what do? You avoid it. You change lanes, or you go around, or like I came into the studio tonight. It was a big wreck on 285, so I popped in the GPS. Let me just get off the exit. That's called avoidance. You just avoided something that right? You avoided it. So with taxes, it's going to be taxes. So what I'm gonna touch on tonight is a couple of strategies that have to do with taxes. So I want you to understand how taxes work. So we're gonna go to the whiteboard in a minute. I'm gonna have nephew. He's gonna be my cameraman. So I'm gonna get that out. But before we go to the board, so just put a little marker in that. Tax evasion, tax avoidance. The reason you need to have tax avoidance in play is this. A lot of people on the web, a lot of people are going to hear this replay, but here's the thing. There's a cost. This is what you need to understand. There's a cost to live in America. Mm-hmm. There is a cost. A few weeks ago, I showed you how to break down if you have a debt and a certain interest rate, and if you want to find out how much your debt that you owe on a daily basis, I showed you how to break that down, right? 1,000 times 24%. You divide that by 365 days. Boom. That's going to give you how much you owe on that debt at that percentage rate every day. Every day. Every day you wake up, it's a cost. So if you add up the mortgage or the rent and the credit cards and the car note and student loan and anything else, the Macy's, the American Express, the Visa, you add up all of that stuff, it is a cost every day in the form of interest. Now, the reason it's important to have a business, I didn't say you had to own a franchise like $1 million, Jimmy John's or McDonald's. The reason you need to have, the number one reason you need to have a business is, even more so than just, of course, the number one reason that you create a business is what? Make money, right? So you make money to create assets. But even bigger than that is what? Avoidance. Avoidance. Because you may be on a fixed income, or you may, have a limited income, or you may, make good money. But the thing about when your salary increases, guess what else increases? Your taxes. So what we've been taught, the way we've been raised is you're going to have interest on your house, your kids. But guess what? One day your kids going to be grown. Then what? You got to have another game plan. So we're going to talk about things you need to, the reason you need to have a business is because a lot of the things that you do in life anyway becomes tax deductible. And you can write that off. Everybody got one of these. I was thinking about that coming in. Everybody, do you know somebody who don't have a cell phone? Mm. Do you know anybody that's in your circle, right? Family member, friend, co-worker. If you was talking to somebody today, tomorrow at work, or in a restaurant, and they say, hey, send me a text or send me your number, and they say, hey, I don't have no phone. You're looking like, you don't have no phone. Like, bro, where you from?
What's wrong with you?
Like, where you from outer space, right? So everybody has one of these. Now I'm gonna give you a quick example. How much is the average cell phone bill? Quick example. How much is the average cell phone? Just say $100. We're gonna make it real easy. Some people got, Cricket and, Metro. So I know some people have it lower, but let's just say 100, right? Most people right at 100. If you ain't at 100, you at 90, pretty much, right? So we just gonna say 100. $100 times 12 months is $1,200, right? Times 10 years. That's why you need the whiteboard. Think about this number now. 100 a month for 12 months is 1,200, and then 1,200 times 10 years is how much? 12,000. What if you had a cell phone for 20 years? That's $24,000. Do that sound like a lot of money? I mean, I don't know. Sound a lot of money to me, especially if you start to get older. 30 years, 36,000, right? And you may be saying, man, but we starting off now, we're getting kids phones in what, pre-K? Kindergarten? Like we used to be latchkey kids. The latchkey turned into the cell phone kid. So kids are getting phones much earlier. So say they even if they got them in middle school, you talking about a 12-year-old? He's gonna have a phone from. So the point I'm making is this: it's not about the phone. What if you had a business set up and you said, what? Are they kids? Like, guess what? If you had a business set up, right? Not a hustle, because we talked about that before. A business. And I'm gonna run through that real quick. We got about 24 minutes. I'm gonna run through that on the whiteboard real quick. Not a hustle, but a business. Not only can you write off your cell phone, you can write off the money that you give into your kids for their cell phone. So instead of you paying their cell phone bill, you create them a little job within your company, and you have them doing something for your company, like folding, letters, putting them in envelopes, or sending emails, something that or sending out texts, or doing your social media for you. And instead of you giving them $100, guess what? You pay them $100 in salary and give them a 1099 at the end of the year. Ooh, that's gangster. Yeah, and write off the cell phone bill, and write off the mileage. You got to come from over there to over here to the studio. I got mileage. I got my business. So that's what I want to talk about tonight. Because, and one other thing before we jump over to the board, I'm gonna do the books of the week, and the books of the week this week, very important books. I want to highlight some of the people that have been on the show, my previous guests, that have books, right? So I'm gonna run through those. So those are the book of the week. So we got Wildly Famous Amos. What did you
say who?
Who
Who did you say?
I said Famous Amos.
Famous Amos.
Yeah, he was on the show. Famous Amos was on the show.
You sure?
Man, don't test me.
I'm trying to figure out what you're talking about.
Don't test me, man. Don't test me.
Lord, this is Wally Amos, and you are listening.
Man, you gotta turn that up, man. They can't hear that.
They can hear it.
Daily
They can't hear it, man. Turn it up.
They can hear it.
Radio. It's the best.
You do that side, I do this side. You do that side.
I couldn't hear it. Turn it on. Let me see if I can hear it again. Let me put my ear to the microphone.
Put my ear to the mic.
Let me put my ear and say, turn it on again, man. Why you trying to be stingy with the stuff, man? Hey, Demetrius, I need to call you, man. You need to come on the show, and we need to talk some business. Since we're talking about business night, Demetrius Lockett, we're gonna have him on the show. The educated.
Lord, this is Wally Amos, and you are listening to the Daily Bread Radio. It's the best in radio.
Ooh, ooh. That was Famous Amos, y'all. So Famous Amos was on the show last year. Was last year? Year before last? Last year. Phenomenal guest, man. So his book, The Power in You, 10 Secret Ingredients for Inner Strength. Go out and you can pick this up. I picked it up on Amazon. I picked it up for him to sign while he was on the show, but by the time it came after he was on the show. But it's still a good book to have in your repertoire. And then we had Leap of Faith by Saida Nairobi. Now this sister, y'all need to go Google this sister, right? This sister is one of the lead dancers for Beyonce. So I'm talking about Homecoming. I'm talking about, what was that one? Lemonade Tour. I'm talking about Super Bowl. She's right there with, if Beyonce is performing on the big stage, this young lady is right there. And she wrote a book called Leap of Faith about how she got into, and the dreams that she had and the goals she set for herself to be a professional dancer. So go out, Amazon, pick up Saida Nairobi's book. It's called Leap of Faith. Awesome, awesome sister. She was on the show. Then we had, look, now this brother, now we switching gears. This is Duval's, this brother here is from Duval. This my good friend, man. Devin D. Coleman, right? He from the Bangham. He's from Duval County. And his book is called Prisoner to Poet. This brother's book is deep. And what happened was, you know, he had some twists and turns in life, and he went through some challenges. And while he was going through them challenges, he wrote a book of poetry. A book of poetry to get out all of that anger and frustration and everything. So now he went from prisoner to poet, and he's going all around Jacksonville. As everyone knows, Jacksonville is experiencing a very high level of crime and shootings, and a lot of it is really with the youth This brother is going out talking to the youth, and he's speaking a language that they understand because he's already been where a lot of them are headed. So this is a good brother. Make sure you go out and pick up his book, Prisoner the Poet. That's Devin D. Coleman. Now, the last book of the week is this book. This is one of my all-time favorites, right? My College Finance by J.L. Thompson, by yours truly. This is 152 pages of nothing but the truth, right? About personal finance. Now, the reason that I'm highlighting these books tonight is this. This book, I wrote this book back in 2007, right? That was 12 years ago. Some other one? Okay. That was 12 years ago. But the beauty of it is this. I want y'all to understand what we're talking about tonight, which is what? Business and taxes. Business and taxes. Business and taxes. This book, right? I had 2,500 copies when I first put my first order in, right? Sold all of them. Had somebody reach out to me 2 days ago. Like, oh, hey, I'm working with this school system, and I think we're going to need between 300 and 500 copies of this book for these youth. And I was like, okay. And I got like 10 of these maybe in the house. Maybe 10 books in my house. But the moral of the story is this. If you don't have a book, you need to take some time out and write a book. Because once you write a book, you have something that you can sell over and over and over and over and over and over and over. You might say, man, I need a quick $300. You can sell 30 books and get $300, right? $10, boom, you good. So I'm strongly encouraging you, because we're talking about business, we're talking about taxes. I would strongly encourage you, if you haven't written a book, because everybody has a book. Everybody has at least one book in them. If you just write your story and put all that stuff in there that happened to you, you're going to be in there. What is that? Man, let me see this, man. Oh, you want to be on the book of the week?
We'll be on the book of the week. Hey,
Man.
Don't,
You got a
don't have-
sponsorship?
Don't
You got a
hesitate.
sponsorship?
Where's the love? Where the love at?
All right.
Where the love?
All right, let me see.
Hey,
We got another comer. we got another person coming in, and this is Beyond the Light. God is here today, tomorrow, and forever. From R.R. Ashimai.
Ajume.
I said Ashimai. What you?
Go ahead. Keep going, boy. You're doing good.
I said-
You're doing good.
I ain't say wriggle, Ashimai. I said Ashimai.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So if you all don't have a
Yeah.
Man, what kind of picture is this on the
Man.
back, bro? What is Man, now that's now that's some picture them. So that, but you threw me off. I looked, I was like, hey man, y'all go. But all jokes aside, look. So y'all can pick up Beyond the Light with R.R. Ashimai. And the good thing about this is this, we laughing, right? But you see this book? This book, how much you said? How much is the book?
$10.
See what I'm saying? How much? Just give me $10, right? If you just did that for a year, especially people in churches, hey, I'm gonna be speaking over at Mount Tabernacle, and if y'all could just, I got this book. Guess what they gonna say? Okay, we'll take 100 copies, but you need to have a product.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta have something to sell. Other than a service, service is good. Don't get me wrong, services are great, but when you have a tangible product, man, you can sell this over and over and over and over and over and over and over. Because guess what? I'm going to tell you something that this old man told me.
Mm-hmm.
I said, yeah, I'm going to rewrite my book. I'm going to write another book. He said, he said, young man, how many copies did you sell the first time?
Mm-hmm.
Then I got all prideful. I said, oh, I sold maybe 2,200, 2,300. He said, it's 300 million people in the United States.
Yeah.
He said, a lot of them ain't heard of you.
But that-
So when he said that, I said, All right, you got it. You right. So instead of me doing a whole look, bam, we just gonna do a reprint, and then we gonna get after them other 20, whatever, 300, 299 million,
Yes, sir.
567,000 that haven't read my book. I'm about to go after them ASAP. So that's what we're doing on that. Now the other thing is, shout out to my pro fight. I see Marcus Barber on Rue to the good bros. Now the thing about business is this. Now this is one, I know I don't know how it's gonna rub some people. We call it abrasion. In corporate, we call it, member abrasion. That's when you have a customer and you do something and they kind of rubbed in the wrong way. We call it abrasion, right? But here's something, I'm gonna put y'all up on a secret. The thing that you need to do, even if you haven't started your business, if you just have an idea, right? The thing that you need to do is take some time and invest in yourself. Take some time and invest in you. Whatever kind, you might say, oh, I don't have no business. Guess what? If you don't have no business, guess what you need to do? You need to go out, spend some money, get a t-shirt that represents your brand, that represents you. Because what we do is we walk around with Adidas, Nike, Under Armour, Louis Vuitton, Gucci, all this Tommy Hilfiger, oh, that's Rolex, that's this, that's that. We say all of that, right? But none of that ties to us. And definitely don't tie to you or me. So what I try to do is this. I switched it up. I switched this up a long time ago, and I'm gonna show you a trick. Here's some shirts, right? This is just me, right? So I'm gonna talk about me, and when I talk about me, I want you to think about you, right? So this is your wardrobe, not your full wardrobe, but just stuff that you're doing that you say is what? Important to you. Things that you want to know. Because what you want to do is let other people know, when you see this shirt, that means we connected, right? So I'm gonna just show you how this works. So this first shirt, I got them all inside out too, so I can unfold it, because I thought about this at home today, and I was like, now these are shirts that I might wear somewhere. Look at this. Look at that. So when I wear that shirt somewhere, right? I know Big Dion, he a big Florida fan. My cousin, he's a huge Florida fan, right? But when I wear this shirt, guess what? Other Florida fans, they come, yeah. Like, okay, all right, bro, got it. 10-4, right? That's Florida. So you put that one over there. You say, okay, that's cool. So then, I got the 9 to 5. I'm a nurse by trade. A lot of people thought I was a pharmacist. No, I'm a registered nurse. I've been a registered nurse for like 24 years. I'm a director. I'm a leader. But what I want to do is I want to create something that was cool, right? That nurses could wear. Bam. Look at this design. Operations, Optimum Operations, the Killer Bees, got the RN symbol. So when I put this on, guess what? I ain't know you was a nurse. RN, oh, you a registered nurse? Oh, that represents who I am. So I'm wearing this. It don't matter where I'm wearing. In the airport, wherever. That's part of my brand, right? I'm a registered nurse. You say, oh, shoot, okay. Then you come over here, you say, well, darn, man, I got this nonprofit. I do stuff for kids. I try to make sure, and I'm going to give y'all an extra 10 minutes a day. We're going to get 10 minutes. I'm looking at the time. And I ain't forget to wipe the whiteboard. I know y'all are like, where whiteboard? Bam, look at this. Now look at this. This says American Financial Literacy Association. And you all might be saying, well, what's that? That's a nonprofit organization that I started back in 2012. This is 2019. 2012 to do what? Raise funds to help students that are in their last semester of college that can't graduate because they have a final bill that they're not able to satisfy. That's the American Financial Literacy Association. Put my logo on the shirt. So when I'm wearing my stuff. I ain't wearing that Florida stuff. This is mine. This is me, right? This is my company. So you say, oh, okay, that's cool. Then you got, stuff like this. And I'm just talking to you now about when you unconsciously wear things, right? You should be conscious of it. You should be wearing it consciously. Now, this is one of my favorites here. So I ironed all these days so it wouldn't be too wrinkled. But when I shake it out, you see that right there? Bam. Bam. That's a 85, the originators, class of 1985. You see that? Let me get this in. You see that? When I wear this, I'm down with it. It ain't Itchy Bond. It ain't, bruh, it's about this, right? But what I'm getting at, what I'm showing you all is day in and day out, we make choices. And what does this do? This puts an impression on your mind. All of these shirts that I showed you thus far, all of them put an impression on your mind because you want to be associated with something, but you don't need to advertise for all these other companies. Like you walk around with a big Nike swoosh. It's like, Nike don't need you. Bro, put your name on the shirt. Just plain and simple. Go to the mall, spend $20, whatever your name, Kenny? Kenny. How about that? Kenny. You got a nickname? Man. You just, just put man on the shirt. You know what I'm saying? Big man, whatever, peanut, something that ties you. So every time you put that on, you're like, okay. Or if you're trying to do something, millionaire, you put that on. If you wear that t-shirt all the time, you cutting the grass, you going different places, you'll start to attach to that. You won't need to be represent other people's business, especially if you got a business. Now, if you got a business, ooh, I got to say that one for last. Ooh, almost. So I got this one. I got, and y'all, only a few people will understand this. My love, my peace and happiness. So I got the bros, right? We celebrated 21 years in the frat this week. So when I had this on, right? People come running, bros coming out the woodwork. When you wear this, they coming. Boy, it's like, okay, they coming. But again, if you put this on, right? That's what you represent. That's part of your brand. So if you're wearing all this different stuff, and at no point, I went through about, how many shirts? 7, 8 shirts? If at no point you had nothing, if you don't have nothing in your wardrobe that represents you and what you do, even if, I don't care what kind of business that you're in, if you're in a certain type of business and you're not wearing your shirt, like I put on roofs, I'm the roofer. If you ain't wearing a roofer shirt with your roofer stuff on it, bruh, Nipsey, listen, he put one word on the shirt, make $10 million, Crenshaw. He ain't put nothing else on none of the, he just put Crenshaw on shirts, hats, sweatshirts, shorts. That's all he put on there, Crenshaw. That was his, bam, bam, bam. This was before, bam. That was before we hit 100. Bam. That was when we was around like 20. I'm always with them, and I wear them everywhere. So I'm saying I'm saying all of that to say, right? Bam. You see this? Get a close up on that. You see what that say? That says established 2004. Let me tell y'all, I know I keep saying, I'm gonna tell y'all one more thing. Let me tell y'all something else that's super special about having a business. Do you realize it's a thing that's called intellectual property that a lot of times we don't talk about. Intellectual property is like copyrights. You come up with a certain, idea and you can get a patent on it. That's called intellectual property. Intellectual property has a value, right? Intellectual property has a value. When we started this company in 2004, this was full service dessert bakery. We started it, got our EIN, did all the stuff we needed to do, blase. But we took it a step further. Listen to this. Small African-American owned bakery, suburb of Atlanta. And I want you to just marinate, like I talked about in the beginning of the show. I'm gonna share something with you, and I want you to just kind of take a step back and think like, how many people do you know that can say this? We have a certificate, because that's what they send you. Now, I'm not gonna go through the whole process. The process takes a year and a half. We have a certificate right now in our home, it's still in the envelope, from the United States Patent and Trademark Office.
Yes.
A certificate with the seal, with our registrant number for this trade. This is trademark. This is the real TM. This is not when you do a design and somebody just slap a TM on there. This ain't the TM. You know what this is? This is the R with the circle. That's different than the TM. The TM is, I'm trying to get to that point, but you trying to keep everybody else at bay by putting the little TM and put trademark, that little TM, that means trademark. So they put that on something and say it's a TM. So if you see it, that's basically like a deterrent. That's like you going to a party and you acting wild and you get up to the door and you see it's like a whole bunch of cops. You straighten up, oh shoot, all right, yeah, okay, I got it. That's a deterrent. No, we have a registered trademark on this design. Just on this. Just, I ain't say no cake, cupcake, just this. So can't nobody use this. It's bulletproof. If somebody use this, we just, hey man, you need to pay us. You need to handle that, right? That's power. That's power. Any kind of way you cut it, slice it, dice. How many people do you, listen, and I did it. I'm just saying, when you have God on your side, so I'm not gonna take all the credit. But I did it, and we did it as a family. We did it without a patent attorney. Now, how many people you know? You know a lot of people with businesses. How many people you know got a registered trademark with the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, registered without a patent attorney? That means you can do it too. That means you can do it too. So we running out of time. I did the book of the week. We talking about business. So we about to go over to, this is my favorite part of the show. I know we ain't got a lot of time, but y'all hang in there. Y'all hang in there. Y'all give me a thumbs up if y'all good. I'm gonna give y'all I'm gonna put y'all up on some quick game. That's what I call a quick game. Come on, video, man. We got video here. We going over to the whiteboard. I'm about to take the headphones off. I'm gonna break something down for y'all real quick. Get your pens and pens. Don't have me going over here if y'all not writing this stuff. If y'all ain't writing this stuff down, just put that in there. Say, man, we ain't writing this stuff down. You can stay in the chair. Oh, you got the thumbs up, then that mean y'all right. Get your pen and your paper. I'm gonna put you up on some game real quick. It's gonna put some money in your pocket. This gonna be real quick now, so we ain't gonna be, you know what I'm saying? We about to transition. All right. What's all that, bro?
That's me. Go ahead.
What you do? Oh, that's episode 103. We don't need that. Let me get some tissue.
Go ahead. We get it. Go ahead. Go on over there and do your thing, man. You gotta be on the screen, brother. You can't be all popping off the screen.
I can't. This is my show. I can do whatever I want to do.
Man, look at him,
You know,
man.
so get my good side, man. Look,
You ain't got now.
get my good side, bro.
You ain't got now.
Get my good side. Get my good side. I'm gonna put y'all up on some game. Why you need to have a business, all right? All right, here we go. This is why. So we're gonna do this. Why? Right? Cell phone. Let's say mileage. All right? Travel. They change it, but just say meals, entertainment. You have to be careful. I'm gonna put a little asterisk by that. Don't go crazy with that, right? These are things that you're gonna do anyway. These are places you're gonna go anyway. So if you're gonna travel, right? If you're gonna travel, if you got a business, guess what? Oh, it's something else. Vehicle. Because you really get good at it, you get your game tight. Instead of you going to buy a car, you buy you a company car, right? It's like, hey, I'm gonna do this anyway. I'm doing this anyway. What about the kids? Your kids might have a cell phone, but if you got a business, guess what? The kids work for the company. But here's the biggest thing. Check this out. I gotta write this one up here, man. We ain't even gonna play. You know what that say? I hope y'all can see that. I hope y'all can see this. That says startup costs.
Mm-hmm.
That says startup costs. So if you saying, hey, I don't have no money to start a business, how much does it cost to start a business? I got a young lady right now that I'm working with. We talked about some business. This is how much the business costs. This is how much it costs for you to get started. It's $99 and then $49 a month. All right? $99 to get started and then $49 a month. How much is that in a year? That's $700. Right? That's $700. Your cell phone, I ain't even gonna do all of the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We just said earlier in the show, your average cell phone is what, $100?
$100.
So I'm gonna just refresh your memory. We said it's $100, right? So if it's $100, if the average cell phone is $100, and it costs you $700 to start the business. The $700 that it costs you to start the business, guess what? That's a tax write-off. So you're gonna just put an X through that, like that. Because now you're gonna write that off on your taxes, right? Because you started a little business, you ain't making no money, you ain't having no meetings at your house. I remember they used to do Tupperware and ham. It don't matter. So get beyond what the person is selling and start thinking like, man, if I had a business, I can get all of this and some, right? Because we ain't went through everything. This is just some things I know you're gonna use anyway, or you're gonna put start up, right? So this is for everybody. If you don't, I just showed you, or the T-shirt. Look, the Daily Bread T-shirt. Guess what? Tax write-off. Amazing Cakes T-shirts. Tax write-off. Oh, you need a book? Tax write-off. Oh, you need pens? You need a whiteboard? Just write it all off. Just write it off, right? If you have a business. Now, if you have a cell phone, $100 a month, 12 months, that's $1,200, right? Right now, you're using a cell phone, but you're not writing off $1,200. You're not writing off $1,200. So guess what? You're just paying it. You're going on trips. If you're gonna go to homecoming, instead of you going to homecoming, why don't you do this? Plan a business meeting around homecoming. They say, hey, we want to see your product. When can you come? October 21st. The week of October 20th. I'll be there for the conference October 21st. Guess what? Homecoming? 23rd. Just coincidentally, you just happen to be in DC at the same time. But I'm doing business. I'm meeting with the Better Business. I'm doing things. You writing it off. Hotel, write it off. You're going to stay in a hotel anyway. Write it off. But if you don't have a business, $99.49 a month. And you might say, I don't have $99.49 a month. Yes, you do. Because I seen you at the restaurant. You, your wife, you had the kids with you, and the bill came up to $99. But guess what? You just paid the bill. So instead of you don't go one time, pay the $99, and then I don't have $49 a month. Yes, you do. You know why? Because here go $1,200 right here. Let me circle that again. That's $1,200. That go $1,200 right there. Right? So depending on what tax bracket you're in, say you're in a 30% tax bracket. What's 30% of $1,200? What? $360? $360 if you're in that tax bracket. So I said 99 and 49. You got the money. What about travel? Where you gonna go? We just going up Little Tabernacle. Okay, gas, food, and you gonna stay overnight. Okay, why not write it off? But if you can't write it off, that go another $500 you spent right there. Or we just gonna shoot to Miami. Go on and shoot to Miami then. But guess what? It's better if you shoot to Miami and can write it off.
Yep. Right?
So I know we're getting late in the game, but I want y'all, do y'all have this? Just give me the thumb. If you understand this, if you don't have no business, get educated on how to start one. I'm not gonna go through those steps tonight, but we can do it in an upcoming episode. But just know you need to start one. And the best part is all your startup costs, right? You want to get into the real estate game, you have to buy a building or buy a house and you're gonna renovate it. Guess what? You can write it off. Don't buy it in your name, buy it in J&J Construction, right? J&J, guess what? J&J gonna write that off. The cement, the poles, the sinks, the knobs, and you're gonna go out and flip the house. So enough about that. So I'm gonna leave y'all with one last image. And this has to do with taxes. The difference between having a business, not having a business, and understanding how money works. All right? Give y'all the short version. This is how this works. $1. About to throw it on the ground, man. $1. There we go. $1. Let me show y'all something. For every dollar I'm gonna put this over here. Tax. How much you paying in taxes? Average person. We're just gonna say average. Now the main thing is this. If I ask that question and you don't know where your tax bracket you're in, shame on you. You should know where you at, right? You should know where your tax, because I mean you ain't doing your tax strategy. But just say taxes on average. Average person in the U.S. 30%. So what's 30%? That means this. 30 cents is going to taxes, right? Because 30 cents is equal to what? I know we're going back, we're doing some math. I know y'all cringing. 30% is equal to 30 cents, right? So that leaves you how much? 70 cents, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is every dollar that you make. So you might make 50,000. It don't matter how much you make. 30% going to Uncle Sam and the state off the rip. And I'm being conservative because depending on, you know, I know a lot of people live in Florida. They don't have no income tax, but guess what? You got Fed, you got federal tax, and then you got other sales taxes that you pay. So let's just say 30%. Every dollar, every single dollar. If I had a dollar in my pocket, I'm not spending. Every dollar. You ain't got no dollar?
There you go.
Oh, appreciate it. Give me some money. I'm taking them collection. Every one of these, look. Even got a 10 in there. I'm getting rich. Every one of these.
There's more taxes.
Every one of these. Before it get in your hand, guess what? As 2 Chainz would say, Sam got his. Sam got his, but you got yours. So Sam got his 30%. So you got your 70%. You're like, oh, I'm good. I got 70%. But here's the game. What I talked about week before last. There's a cost to living in the United States. And here's the other one.
I'm about to play your exit music, man.
Interest. Oh, we got 2 minutes. Interest. The average person, credit cards, mortgage, car note, student loan, what else? Revolving credit, personal lines of credit, personal loan, all of that has interest on it. The average person in the United States is paying how much interest? I'm gonna show you. These are facts. You can go and research this. 40%. Right? So now you're down to what? 30 cents. That's what you get. You get 30 cents. So what's 30 cents? 30 cents is it ain't funny. It ain't funny, but look, this is how we get in trouble. Because we don't know these 2 things. This is every dollar that you make. So this is what you got left to spend. The money that you got in your pocket, the money that's in your savings, that's this. 30 cents on the dollar. Right? 30 cents. Now let me show you something different. Here's the game. So you got 30 cents. So if you make 100,000, 30. Take the taxes out, take the interest that you paid everybody. You make $30,000. Do the math. Do the math. Now, let me show you what this looks like when you have a business. Hey, now we getting in there.
You gotta tell me to tune in next week, you know, you're gonna finish this thing up, man. We're gonna play your exit music, man.
Man, I said 2 minutes.
You said 2 minutes ago. Go ahead.
2 minutes.
Go ahead, man. Hurry up.
Man,
Teach them.
this is what it's gonna look like. See, this the main joker right here. You know what I'm saying? You got somebody in your class. You remember that when you was in high school, somebody in your class making jokes, be the main goddamn one.
It's him. He the one.
The main one that needed, he's making jokes.
He the one.
Let me show you what a business look like. For every dollar, when do you pay taxes? You pay the taxes on what's left after you pay everything else, including yourself. Payroll, you done brought some expenses, you done went on a trip, you done paid for the cell phone, you take all of that. Whatever's left, that's when you pay the taxes, right? It's not at the top, so you still got your dollar, you good. What about the interest? Let's talk about interest, right? So now you got something with interest, and you running it through your business, right? Same 40. Right? You said 40%, that's 60. So this is 60, right? Just say 60 cents, right? Which is 60%, right? But let me show you something. This 40, if you do it right, you run it through your business, guess what? Tax deductible. So what does that mean? That means you're gonna get this back. You ain't gonna get quite 100, but you'll be somewhere like 85 to 100. Of that dollar.
That's good.
Not 30 cents.
That's
right?
good. That's good.
Over here, so what would you rather have? 30 cents
Mm-hmm.
or $1?
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good.
Bro, that's the Daily Bread Radio Show.
That's good. Yep.
That's why you need to have a business. 30 cents,
Mm-hmm.
or you can have this dollar over here, pay the interest that you need to pay, run it through your company. Interest is tax deductible through a business, right? Then you can come down here and you only pay tax on what's left. And in businesses, right, if you run your business the right way, what's left? Very, very little. That's why you hear these companies that made $10 billion and then their net profit is $1.5 million. But where did that money go? Where $1 billion go? Guess what? Salaries, trips, houses, and then whatever's left, they leave a little bit left for Uncle Sam and say, hey, you can tax us on this,
Yeah.
and we'll take all of this. You got to be up on it. Hey, I know we went to a little overtime tonight. That's what it's about. You got to know your numbers, business versus no business,
Yes, sir.
tax and interest. I gave it to you. I done gave you game. I done added some years to your life, right? I done added some years to your life. So y'all stay tuned. We'll catch y'all next week. Daily Bread Radio Show coming to you live from Snellville. So I'm going to get my fun.
No.
We in Snellville? Where we at?
Burn.
Oh, man. We in Snellville.
You know what?
Come find us. We in Snellville. If you see me with this hat, this is my fun hat. I mean, we having fun.
You know what we're gonna do?
What? Man, I don't want to talk about that, man. You play my
No,
music.
this is what we're gonna do.
Who else you know got a song? Play my music.
No. This is what we're gonna do, man. 'Cause
What?
You called the wrong city. You gotta go 5 more minutes now.
Oh, good. Okay,
You gotta
check
give
this
him
out.
5 more minutes now, man.
Check this out. Check this out.
You gotta give him 5 more.
Bro, you ain't said nothing to me. We said give him 5 more minutes.
Give him 5 more
All right,
minutes.
bro. Okay.
You called the wrong city.
Okay.
Oh, Lordy, Tam.
There you go, man.
He got
This old raggedy
suicided.
board, man.
He got suicided.
This old raggedy board. This old raggedy board. All right, we're gonna leave that at 5 more minutes. Let me show y'all something real funky. Right? Let me show y'all something real funky. This is more than funky. This is like, listen, man. You go out and do this. You can't tell nobody I showed it to you. If you do it, don't tell them I showed you. But I'm gonna show you something. I'm gonna show y'all something how people are just sleepwalking in the United States, and you like, hey, how do you do that? I'm gonna show you some magic. This is called magic. Now there's a company out there called Alphabet.
Is it Alphabet?
Alphabet.
I ain't heard you say it. What you say?
Alphabet.
Alphabet. Okay.
Right? Alphabet.
I'm trying to get it from this side too. Okay, go ahead.
Alphabet. Right? It's a company out there that's called Alphabet. And Alphabet is something that's called a what? You heard people say this. Parent company. Right? But you've also heard somebody say this. Holding company. Right? Holding company. So he's like, holding
that?
company.
Yeah.
What is that? What's Alphabet? How many people know Alphabet?
I have no idea. Never heard of it.
You ever heard of Alphabet?
Never.
Have you heard of Alphabet? No, somebody out there heard of Alphabet. Man, give me a thumbs up. Y'all got, man, come on, man.
ABC.
Daily Bread, man, y'all better than that.
My ABC is the only alphabet I heard of. ABCs. That's it.
Listen, and you making the point because you don't know, right? I'm going to show you. This is magic.
Come on.
Now listen. Wait a minute, man. You joking. You ain't never heard of them?
No, sir.
All right, look. Let me show y'all something. This company, you come down here, this company has other companies right
Mm.
up under this company. So I'm gonna draw this arrow two ways. So now, here's the game. Alphabet, they go out and they buy the real estate, right? They build a building. They buy the real estate, they build a building, and then a company that's under them, and I'm gonna put this in it so that way we can. How many people heard of that company? Google.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Yes, but you don't know Alphabet.
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. So check this out.
Mm-hmm.
How about Google moves into this building
Mm-hmm.
on the Google campus
Yes, sir.
with the Google stuff
Mm-hmm.
and the Google this and the Google that.
Googling.
Googling. They just Google it along. They just Googling to be Googling.
Come on.
But check this out.
Mm-hmm.
How about Google? Google got a lease,
Uh-oh.
right? No, they said, you know what? We're gonna buy the building.
Mm-hmm.
We ain't gonna be Google. Who's bigger than Google? We gonna buy the building. So guess what Alphabet says? Well, we own the building. Y'all can buy the building. And Google says, okay, we want to buy the building. How much is the building? The building is $400 million. Right? So Google says, I'll take it. Right? They buy the building from Alphabet and start making payments to Alphabet, because Alphabet owns the building. They don't buy it outright.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to what I'm saying to you. They don't buy it outright. They start making payments from Google
Mm-hmm.
to Alphabet.
Wow.
Why?
Mm.
Like, why is Google making payments to Google?
Yeah.
Could go out and buy any building.
Exactly.
But guess what? This company
Mm-hmm.
is this company.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all how they have it set up structurally. So now because Google is paying a lease, payments, or rent, or whatever you want to call it, to Alphabet, guess what they doing?
Mm-hmm.
They writing that off. They writing it off. It's a tax deduction.
Mhm.
It's in the code. It's in the tax code. Guess what? They doing that. Alphabet, because they own the property that Google is leasing, guess what they doing? They taking a deduction on the property,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because they own it. It's a holding company. And guess what? They got multiple other companies doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
This is when we start getting advanced. Most times on Daily Bread, we stay local. This is advanced. But I'm showing you, the reason I'm showing you this is, you can set up the same thing in your world.
Come on.
And what this does is, you have to get to the point where you make yourself invisible. See, a lot of times we want to put stuff in our name. You don't want that in your name.
Mm-hmm.
No. This is your business that you started, and you say, I ain't got no million. You don't have to have $1 million. You have to have a business entity, tax ID, registered with the Secretary of State, business license, and the tax code says this. This is the definition of a business. You must have the intent to make a profit.
Yes.
You must have the intent to make a profit. So you can't start a business trying to drive it into the ground. Oh, you got to have the intent to make a profit. But do you have to make a profit? No.
Mm-hmm.
And as you start accumulating assets, guess what? You're not putting them in your name. You're putting them in the company name.
Mm.
And then as you buy, look, you can buy one house and have your other company buy the house from your holding company.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? You can live in the house and be paying rent to your holding company.
Paying yourself.
How long they been doing that?
Mm.
How long they been doing this? Forever. But they ain't telling us about it. So I just gave you an extra 5 minutes of funk.
Yes, sir.
5 minutes of funk. So, hey, that's what we do on the Daily Bread Radio Show. We do what? Educate, motivate, elevate. Educate, motivate, elevate. If you don't think this is what it is, go research it, Google it, Wikipedia. You'll see Alphabet. And the fact that my producer didn't know Alphabet, but he know Google, that means it's set up just right. Because you don't want your holding company to be known to everybody. See, the holding company is the dude who's standing in the background, while the artist out there, oh, I'm big, I'm a superstar. But it's always a guy in the back. He be way back here like this. He make more money than everybody.
Yeah.
I don't want to be out front. I want to be back here. So you going to perform and you do, are you Sammy Davis going to do that?
Tap dance.
But it's the person behind Sammy Davis. Oh, you want to, man, wear them gold chains, do all of that.
Yeah.
It's somebody behind them, just sitting back like this. And you could do the same thing. Don't cost a lot. You just have to understand the concepts, start playing with it. Now, what does this look like when we start putting it on to 16-year-olds and 8-year-olds?
Come on.
16 and 8-year-olds. You showed him once, he ain't really get it. Kind of going over his head, right? But just like school, right? Instead of them studying stuff that they ain't gonna never use anyway, you did it once, all right, let's do it again. Let's practice. Practice. You talking about practice? I'm talking about practice. You show this to an 8-year-old, 8, 9, 10, 11, I guarantee you by the time he's 15, he'll know how to set this up because you done took him to the Secretary of State, you done showed him how to register a company, matter of fact, you done started a little company, you got him working for it, right? So instead of you giving him money directly now, guess what? You paying him and he get a 1099 at the end of the year. Ain't no more allowance. Nah, bro, 1099. You want to play basketball? How much it cost? $350. Okay, good. I need you to do my social media, man my websites, do some of these flyers. How much it cost? How much you gonna pay me? $350. So instead of you going to the school giving them $350, you give it to your son or your daughter. She'll eat $800. Oh my goodness, you got a lot of work to do. Boom, you just give it to them. What do? That's my personal assistant. They help my business. But it all starts with a business. It all starts with a business. People eat off of the people that don't have a business. Period. The tax laws that got changed benefited businesses, not individuals. The tax rate for businesses, corporate tax rate went from 35% to 20%. So just think about that. You paying 30%. Some people paying more than 30. Some people paying almost 40% in taxes. And the corporations are paying 20% and less. All right, so that's it. Hey, love y'all. Hope y'all learned something this evening. Daily Bread Radio Show, putting it down every week right here. Next week, episode 104. 104. That's got a ring to it, 104. So I'm going to go and get out of here. Like I said, hope y'all learned something. Hey! This the original. How many people you know got a song? That's what we do. That's what we do. Get up on this. Get up on this. Get up on this. That's my video guy. Man, he got the phone too. He got the camera, man. You messing up the cameraman, bro. Man, I don't even think he hit record, bro.